What if we're wrong? I mean, there's no take back. I've been through this before.
Yeah.
Well, which way did it go, George? Which way did it go?
Hello, welcome to Steelers Sanctuary's Draft Profiles. I'm Bob Quinn, and today we're going to take a look at Ashton Jeanty. Sorry we didn't have a draft profile for you yesterday. I promise you're going to get two today. We're going to do Ashton Jeanty now, and I'll be back later on tonight with a profile of Omarion Hampton, probably the two top backs in the draft. So let's take a look at a guy that a lot of fans have kind of projected that, hey, maybe we should take a risk. Okay. So Ashton Jeanty, let's look at the measurables. First of all, he's small. That being said, he's not slight. He's just small, kind of a Jalen Warren-ish type of deal. He's only 5'8.5", weighs 211 pounds. Didn't run the 40 at the combine, didn't participate in any drills. I get it. I understand. He's got everything to lose and nothing to gain by running at the combine. I don't begrudge him that, but bottom line is, people are talking about him like he's some generational talent. And at his pro day, if he runs 4.45 below, then he's probably going to be a first round draft pick. He comes out and runs a Caleb Johnson time, all of a sudden this conversation shifts. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. If you look at him, I mean, he's a very good back. And if you watch the podcast, you know that I don't feel like he's a generational talent like a Saquon Barkley, but I still think he's very, very good. And if he was a guy who the Steelers could maybe draft in the second round, then I would be all over it. I just, maybe it's Najee Harris, fatigue. I don't love the idea of a running back in the first round. Now, what to like about Ashton Jeanty? Impressive production. I mean, no denying that. I mean, 2,600 rushing yards in 2024. That's really good. He's a 3-down back. He actually has pretty good hands. He didn't showcase it this year. He only had 100 yards receiving, but last year he did have 500 yards receiving. He's got good hands. It's just when 2,600 yards. I mean, he's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Why throw the ball? He is also a very good pass protector. Again, I'm kind of comparing him to Jalen Warren. I do think he's better than Jalen Warren. I'm not saying that's his comp, but he's an excellent pass protector like Jalen Warren is, and I think he's going to surprise people. If he did end up in backs on backers in Pittsburgh, I think you'd get the same kind of buzz that we got when, hey, Warren made a name for himself as undrafted free agent. It would be the same kind of buzz as, hey, Jalen Warren will be lucky to get on the field with this kid. He's got great balance and vision. Some say elite. Okay. To me, not quite elite, because when we go to what not to like here, and we'll talk about it in a second. Well, we'll talk about it now. He charges ahead. I mean, he kind of like Warren, where he barrels into the line, and because Warren's so fast and decisive with the Steelers line, that's really good. This is the same thing, but as a top end 3-down running back, sometimes he doesn't let those blocks develop, and he gets himself into a little bit of trouble when he charges in, and I think that'll be a little bit more on display when he goes against NFL type competition on a consistent basis. Big issue with Ashton Jeanty, as far as I'm concerned, is ball security. He's fumbled 10 times in 3 years in college, okay? But fumbled twice in the playoffs. And that gives me pause. Not to the extent I wouldn't draft him, but that is what pushes him down from generational to one of 5 or 6 really good running backs in this draft. I don't like it when my running backs put the ball on the ground, but then again, I do like home run hitters too. So you got to kind of take the good with the bad. I think there's maybe a better version of this who has better ball security. The other concern too is the level of competition. We got into the playoff, that's what fumbles happened right away. And coming from Boise State, yeah, they played okay teams, but he just wasn't the same in the playoffs against that type of competition. So, do I think that that means he can't translate to the NFL? No, he's still going to be very, very good. But I think there's going to be an adjustment period. If you're thinking this kid's going to walk in and run for, 1,500, 2,000 yards, I think there's an adjustment. It may take a year or two for him to get up to where he's a 1,500-yard type back. And then at that point, you really got to wonder. He ran the ball 374 times last year. That's a lot of wear and tear. He had over 700 carries in 3 years in college. He's effective, but does there maybe get to be some wear and tear where by the end of his rookie contract, is he starting to show his age a little bit? Running backs just unfortunately don't age well. Personally, I wish they'd do away with the salary cap for running backs. Let those guys get paid coming out of college, because I think that running backs' most effective years are his first 5 in the league. And the fact that they can't get paid for the first 5, and you're in a position as a team where you have to kind of pay for past performance and maybe not future performance. They ain't all Saquon Barkley. They're not all Christian McCaffrey. A lot of times you're paying for the downside of their careers. Now, that being said, I wouldn't wish that on this kid, and that's just a general statement about running backs in general. What's the verdict? Steelers have a history of straying away when they get burned, and they got burned with Najee Harris. There's no other way to put it. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, it doesn't matter. I personally, I rooted for him while he's here. When he's gone, I won't shed a tear. But that being said, I liked him. I didn't hate him, but he's not a home run hitter. And when that happens, like with just like with wide receiver and certain other positions, all of a sudden they disappear from first round choices. Haven't picked a corner since Artie Burns. Got burned pretty bad there. There's no disputing we've needed a corner for a long time now, and they just stay away from it, just like they stay away from the Pac-12. So I'm just wondering if the Najee Harris on the mind will work against taking a running back in the first round. And honestly, it's working on me. I don't love picking a running back at 21. Now, I will say this: if he runs below 4.45 at his pro day, he's going to be the first back chosen. There's no doubt about that. The only way he drops, and I still think he'd be the first running back on the board, is if he runs in the high 4.4s, low 4.5s. Then I think all this first round generational buzz goes away fast. But for his sake, I hope he does run a fast time. I like him. I just don't love him at 21. Okay. With the depth with the depth of this class at running back and the needs of the roster, I just don't feel like running back is the big need for the Steelers. If you've watched some of the draft profiles, I like Kenneth Grant. I could live with Matthew Golden. It'd be a curious direction for them to go. And if they do, then, we got to take a long look at Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan and say, what are you building? Because we know we don't have a quarterback yet. I'm skeptical. But as far as the kid goes, I'm not. I do like him. I think he's the top back in the draft. Just not at pick 21, as far as I'm concerned. That's all I got. When I come back later, I'm gonna preview Omarion Hampton. Kind of, just a little preview. Kind of some of the same feelings, but this is a kid who is also very, very good. And if we ended up with Omarion Hampton, I wouldn't hate it. But that being said, we'll go through his profile later on today. Hit me up on X. Let me know if there's other people you want me to preview. And I'll be back tonight. Oh, just a reminder to everybody, tomorrow, 5:30, Dave and I will be doing a draft podcast every Sunday from now on till the draft. So join us. It's going to be live. Ask questions. We'll have a lot of fun. Talk to you soon.
Why am I so sad? Am I doing the wrong thing?
It's just that sometimes goodbyes are a bitch.
T-shirt idea. Goodbye stink.
I will see you tomorrow at lunch.
I am looking forward to lunch.